Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page here at Facebook, where I do this daily live stream. And the basis of it is the card draw that I do each morning. And I've been doing this for a really long time. It's just I started sharing it. And so the card draw is divination cards or oracle cards, and it's about the information, the energy that's most important for us to know about today. Right. And it also sparks a spiritual conversation between me and those in the chat. And I enjoy this time together, and so welcome. It is Wednesday, March 20th. March 20th. Yeah. The month is flying by, isn't it? Well, before we get too far down the road here, I would like to invite you to like and share the live stream, because I'm doing the same thing. And that way I've got a couple of things I want to share with you before we get started with the cards. I just have to find our live stream. Here we are. I'm going to like it. I'm going to share it over to my news feed. And just so that my friends know that I'm live streaming. And to please join us. There you go. It's in there, and I think I'm going to send it over to the closed groups. Yeah. All right. So just to let the peeps know that I'm live streaming. Space there. Okay. And to please join us. There we go. An academy and the network. There it is. It's not that hard. Just takes just a few moments. Okay. So what I wanted to share with you this before we get started with the cards is, first of all, happy equinox. Now I was going to say spring equinox, but we're a global company, right? And many of our viewers and the people who read the magazine and we're from all over Grandmother Earth, right? And so I'm saying happy equinox because some of us are actually celebrating the fall equinox in the southern hemisphere and not necessarily just the spring equinox, right? And so anyway, it's spring equinox, happy equinox, and this morning, I have to share this. It was relatively early. Mom was already up and sitting at the dining room table having her breakfast, and George was outside. It was somewhere between 7 and 7:30, something like that. And I went to the back area to check on George, and I opened up the door, the sliding door, and I heard cranes calling. And I'm thinking, cranes, that's a little early for them to be migrating back. And I could hear them, and they were flying over the house just above treetop level, and they were calling, and I'm thinking, those are sandhill cranes. And there's a field not too far from here, probably less than a quarter mile, that they tend to land in and feed in, right? And so I thought, oh my gosh, the sandhill cranes are back. Yay. And in Potawatomi, we would place them in the east. Okay. And and so having them return is one of the signs that we look for that it's truly spring. One of the signs. There's many. And so anyway, that was the first one. And then later in the morning, I was on the phone and talking with one of my sisters, Sharon Rosenblum. She's one of the executive team here at Star Nations, and we were discussing a few things. And I look out the back window, doorways areas, and there were so many robins in the backyard, in the woods in the back, that you couldn't count them. There were so many. Yeah. And then amongst all of these robins, there was the mated pair of the pileated woodpecker. And they were maybe, I don't know, 20 feet from me, if that. and they were knocking on some trees. Yeah, so it was a really very fascinating morning with the nature and the animals, and so the birds, right? The bird tribe, the angels, huh? So anyway, the winged ones, those who fly, were certainly in abundance this morning, and so I could take a lot of meanings to those birds visiting. The woodpeckers are definitely about they're drumming out new beginnings, right? They're drummers, and yeah, and they have a very distinctive call. Those pileated woodpeckers do. They're huge too. So I had to share that with you. So it made quite the morning for me. I was very grateful, happy. And Julie's here. Hello, Julie Shumway Hill. Always good to see you in the house. And Rob is here. He says astrology would obviously be different on another planet as it's based on visual astronomy. Yes, did I miss something? No, okay. I thought maybe I missed a comment, but that is your comment, Rob. Well, it's good to have you here, Rob. Yeah, and it would be different if we were looking. It would be a different perspective, right? Yeah. All right. And then he's going on to say, but how different is not immediately apparent. The axial tilt would change the elliptical. That's true. The wobble, right? Because we know about the wobble, and it would change that depending on the core too. What they have at their core and how heavy that planet is. There'd be a lot of variables there to have to take into consideration. Why, are you planning on going someplace, Rob? Rob says, I mentioned this as the equinox would also be vastly different. Yes. And equinox here in the Midwest is at 4:58 p.m. this afternoon. And my husband, every equinox, he takes out an egg, a raw egg, and stands it on its end on the counter. So there's nothing supporting it, right? And trying to get it to stand. And so he does that every equinox. And so when he gets home tonight, he says he's gonna get that done. And he and his older sister, they do that. They take pictures and send it back and forth to each other. Yeah. All right. Well, the cards today, again, interesting because we've had them now 3 days in a row, or maybe it's 4 days. I lose track. Every day is pretty much the same. Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm looking at my phone, because I have my phone up because every once in a while, Facebook or our app, Be Live TV, sometimes they have glitchy stuff going on, right? And so I have my phone out just in case I need to be able to access your comments in the chat by my phone. And on the phone, I can see who is actually, who's in the house. Because if you don't say anything, I don't see you in the studio. And so I'm seeing Tanya's here. But Rob, did you know that you are designated as a top fan for Star Nations? I mean, wow, you got a little star above your name. I think that's way cool. It's got a little star and it says top fan. I have to agree with them. Well, I've never seen that before. That must be something new that Facebook is doing, huh? Yeah, let's see. Got to move some things around here. All right. So the first card that came today is one that we had yesterday, and it was the last card yesterday. And today it's the first card. Here we go. Hind. And, to pronounce this one is kind of hard in Gaelic, but I'll give it a good go here. Hind. Where are you? Here you are. Eilid. Elij is the pronunciation. Eilid. Hind. And somebody was asking me, what is a hind? And I said, it looks like a white deer. Yeah. Hind. So this was the last card that came yesterday, and it was vertical, upright. Today it's the first card and it's upright. Yeah. Here. Rob is continuing with the equinox. He says the wobble is not the same as axial tilt, but that will affect the pole star and precession of the equinoxes. Yes, it would. But the Earth's wobble also affects the axial tilt. Yes, it does. In fact, with the wobble, with the precession, when we were right around, I think it was 2012, December, there was a lot written about the wobble and taking that into consideration, right, with the equinoxes and that sort of thing. So a wealth of information, Rob Kendall. And he says, this was new today. I guess I'm cool now. Well, Rob, you've always been cool. You didn't need that to say that you were cool. We already knew that. I just thought, that designation, I've never seen it before. So it's something new. I wonder what it takes to be a top fan. And is that like a groupie? I don't know. I don't know. Hey, Pat. Hello, Pat. Good to have you here. This is the card that came first, Hind. And we had this one yesterday. Eilid in Gaelic. I think I'm pronouncing that at least close. And not many cards have this much greenery on the trees, on this much leaves on the trees. Most of the trees that we have in this deck are usually without leaves. Usually. But it's that shaft of sunlight that's really brightly showing the Hind, Eilid, on the trail. Really kind of want to walk down that trail to it, doesn't it? It's very inviting. At least it is to me. Yeah. All the ferns, very fairy-like, and the Hind is definitely associated with fairy. We have that one branch over the top of the pathway, and it doesn't have any leaves on it. But it looks like it comes from an older tree, doesn't it? Yeah. Hind. Get a close-up of the Hind. Now, like with every other card, you want to take it in. See what catches your eye first. What is the first thing about the card that you notice? The essence of the card. Because, when we look at the card, we're seeing it. We're seeing or sensing, feeling more than what our physical eyes are showing us, right? We're taking it all in. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Rob says, I don't know, but I'm not as cool as Julie Hedges. Now, she's cool. She is cool. She's the coolest one of the group. She certainly is. Of course, now that I've said that, now I'm going to have other hosts say, yeah, but I thought you said I was the coolest. Hey, Tanya is saying, hello, everybody. I love the sunlight coming through. It's so warm and welcoming. Isn't it, though? It's very inviting to take that walk down that pathway. And they say, this is what they say, is that you have to be careful when you're taking fairy paths. Because time and space are not the same in fairy. And they say that, decades could go by and you think you're only there for a day. Yeah. And they say to be careful when you're walking fairy paths. Now, what is a fairy path, right? A fairy path is, here in Wisconsin, we have a term that's called runways. Yeah, runways. That is the pathways that animals take. Like there could be a deer runway or a rabbit runway. And you can see them, because they usually are a bit wide and they don't have a whole lot of grass on them, and that they've been traveled a lot, right? Yeah, that would be like a fairy path. Yeah, and they say to be careful, because you could easily get passed through the veil between this dimension or this reality and into fairy. Yeah. Now, we do that quite often in dream time, but not so much maybe in awake time. Maybe some people do. I have to say, I probably came closest when I was in Ireland on a little island called Innisfallen. I think that's what it was, Innisfallen. It's a teacher's island, and definitely felt some past life stuff there. And it's an island. It's not very big. You can walk around it, and that doesn't take you very long. And I was, wandering around and looking at stuff, and I found this one path, and it took me to the other side of the island, kind of cutting across the island, not going around it. And for a moment there, it was like, where am I? Because the grass was like not quite shoulder high, and I had to stop because it felt like somebody was following me, and I thought it was one of the other travelers, right? One of the other people from the group, and I stopped and I turned around. And there's nobody there. I thought, okay, what's going on? And I'm talking to my team, and it's like, listen. So I stopped and I was listening, and I could hear like a deer walking, but it wasn't walking behind me. It was kind of walking to the side of me in the woods, out in the brush. And so I think that was the first time and the only time I ever felt that that feeling like, oh, I'm clearly close to fairy here, and to be careful. To be careful. They also say don't take anything to eat or drink from them too. Yeah. Although I have. Rob is saying the sun rays is what caught his eye, that drew him in. Same as Tanya. Yeah. And Julie is saying the same thing. The sunlight gives the Hind an ethereal glow. Doesn't it, though? It certainly does. It certainly does. And yesterday when we had Hind, it was after those three cards in reverse, right? And basically, the message I felt that it was giving us is that if we do the work, if we identify one of those repressed situations of anger and allow it to come to the surface, to actually feel it, turn our attention to it, and to release it, to find a way to release it in a healthy way, that if we did that kind of work, tapping into the energies that's surrounding us, especially at its peak today, that our gift is what Hind can bring to us, right? And so let's refresh our memory. Hind, Eilid, subtlety, gracefulness, and femininity. The card shows a white Hind in the forest in late summer or early fall. Acorns hang heavy from the oaks. The Hind calls to us to follow her deeper into the forest. Standing in the shaft of sunlight, she appears so elusive that we are not even sure if she's of this world. And I think we just said that, didn't we? Eilid brings us the gentleness and grace of the feminine principle. Whether you are male or female, opening to the qualities of the Hind will enable you to achieve a greater degree of sophistication, subtlety, and elegance, in the best possible sense of these terms. Deer, and the white Hind in particular, call to us from the other world, from the realm of fairy, and invite us to look beyond the material, beyond the superficialities of life, toward the heart of things, toward the realm of causes rather than effects. Poised in moonlight or sunlight, Eilid invites us to begin an exploration of the other world, of the spiritual dimensions of life. And so yesterday when we had those three cards, and this was the fourth one, it was like the gift. It was like the gift, right? And that Hind can actually help us with that shift in our vibration when we let go of even just one of the things of the anger that we may have repressed. And that Hind can actually help us move into that next vibration, that next octave, that next frequency. Yeah. And so no wonder why we want to follow her down that path. And she said, see, come follow me. I'll show you how to go through. I'll show you how to get there. Yeah, it's a gift. It really is. All right, so there's also red deer. I don't know, you guys probably already knew this, but the red deer is also known as a hind. And this graceful animal was considered especially sacred by the Celts and the Druids. In Scotland, they are called fairy cattle. And it's said that they are milked on the mountaintops of the fairies. Others believe that the hinds themselves are fairy women who have taken the form of deer. The goddess who protects her deer, another Irish tale, the Fianna, were at one time hunting a fawn that led them to Slieve Namban, the Hill of Women, where she put down her head and vanished into the earth. So they're really connected to the fairy. And that the goddess protects the deer. The Hind. So, I think that this is a reminder about yesterday's message, that here we are at the equinox, almost like within grasp of the apex of that energy. And as I look at my clock, because I wanted to see what time it was, see how much time we have left, is that it's 2:22. 2:22. Those triple numbers. Do you remember those? All right, I'm going to look for the information. I know I have it. You just got to give me a second here. It's just I've got so many pictures in that one album for us that I have to try to get to it. I know it's there. Nope, not the trees. Not minute. Here it is. All right. So 222 is about the flow of energy. And it's the flow of all kinds of energy. Nope, I'm sorry, that's 111. The 222 is the beginning of a new cycle, the nature of which depends on the next triple numbers you see. So it's the beginning of a new cycle. And I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences at all. That I would just glance up at my clock and there's 2:22. And here we're talking about Hind, and that there's a gift that Hind is bringing to us, and that's the opportunity, the ability to be able to move from one realm to another, from one dimension to another. And that the Hind is capable of doing that, and so they can actually lead us through. So, and I was just saying that if we take the advantage, if we grab the opportunity that's with us right now, and that is tapping into the energy of the full moon, Mercury retrograde, and the equinox. Any one of those in of itself is pretty intense energy, but you have all three of them together. And this is something that you can't ignore it. Even if you didn't know anything about it, you'd be wondering, why do I feel different today? I'm really tired, or, kind of the sense of fatigue, but I slept well last night. I don't understand why I'm so tired. Or you have this kind of feeling of anxiousness. It might be a good word for it. That's why it's so important to be grounded today, so that we're in a position to really take in the energy that's the gift that's flowing, to really take it in and to be able to utilize it in the best way possible. So okay, we got something here. Rob's saying, I believe in coincidences. Coincidences happen all the time. I don't trust coincidences. Yeah, I do. This is a direct quote, right? Deep Space Nine. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen too much, experienced too much to believe in coincidence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a start of the beginning of a new cycle, the nature of which depends on the next triple numbers we see. So, just watch, be aware. What's the next triple numbers you see? You can always download this as a picture. So you can always click on it and you can download it and you can keep it. And so the next triple numbers you see, that they'll give you an idea of what this new cycle is for you. Yeah. All right. I'm going to get rid of that if I can. It won't let me. There we go. All right. And Julie's saying, yes, I've been feeling anxious. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that anticipation, isn't it? That's mine, is the anticipation. It's almost the feeling like that energy, just, the day when you were a kid, the day of your birthday, and you know that you're going to be getting your presents when you get home, after supper or something, and you have that anticipation. Or that maybe you're taking a family trip and it's the day before, the night before you're supposed to leave, and you have that anticipation. Yeah, that's what mine is. Mm-hmm. Rob is saying it will be 333 for a few of us in EDT, folks. That's true. And you know what 333 is, don't you? We'll put it back up. 333 is about making a decision. You have a decision to make. The decision will lead to either a 666, which means you must repeat the lesson again in some other way, or it may lead to a 999, which means there's a completion and that you've learned the lesson. Yeah. So you have a decision to make. Only if you see the 333. Only if you see the 333. If you don't see it, then that's not necessarily for you. But if you do see it, yeah, then you have a decision to make. And how do you know? What part of your life are you making a decision about? Some people sometimes would know automatically, oh, I know what that is. I have to decide about such and such. But most of the time it's like what? That's me. It's like, okay, what part of my life am I making a decision about? I'd be happy to do so, but you have to tell me what area. And so many times I'll take my pendulum out and I'll just start asking, is it in my home life? Is it with mom? Is it with Star Nations? If it's with Star Nations, what section of Star Nations? Is it about Paul and I? Is it about George? Is it, and so I start asking, trying to narrow it down until I get to the point where I think, oh, that's what that is. And I can ask the question, make that decision. Yeah. So Tanya says, everyone I talked to today is tired, including me. I was wondering if it had to do with the spring and the moon. Tanya, my impression of that is it's just a lot of really intense energy flowing today because of the three things happening at once, right? And so our physical body can only take so much of that energy. And it's actually, if you can take a nap, you're probably doing the best thing you can do for yourself, is just to say, okay, I'm taking a 20-minute nap. And that is just to rest your body so that it can it can kind of bounce back a bit, right? Yeah, it's kind of like when we talk about sacred geometry, or we're looking at sacred geometry, the platonic solids, or any of the flower of life stuff, because the sacred geometry energy is in the sixth dimension. And so our physical body isn't comfortable in those higher dimensions yet. And so what we have to do is be able to work with it so that we can become comfortable with it, right? So today I can imagine the fatigue out there, especially by this time this afternoon or within the hour, because we're going to be at the very peak. A lot of people may feel that fatigue. Yeah. The only thing we're missing out of this is a solar flare. And who knows, maybe that's even happening. Um, yeah. Rob says, I'll do work and not look. Right. I've done that too. It's like, okay, it's getting close to 333. I'm going to be busy. I'm not going to look at the clock. I'm not. And I will open up something on my computer and there'll sit a 333. So I'm looking right at it. So you can try, Rob, you can try, but if you're meant to see it, you'll see it. Oh my goodness, Margaret's with us. Margaret, it's so good to see you in the chat. It's so good to see you in the chat. I'm glad you're here. And Tanya says, a nap sounds good, doesn't it, though? Doesn't it? All right, so here is the first card that came. It's called Hind, Eilid in Gaelic. The words associated with it is subtlety, gracefulness, and femininity. The author says that the Hind invites us to begin an exploration of the other world, of the spiritual dimension of life. And we've got two cards here today, and we had the same two cards yesterday in the mix of the four. All right. And this happens to be the last card that came to us yesterday. And today it's the first card. And honestly, I believe that this is just a reminder for us that if we do the work that was shown to us yesterday, that we have a gift that the Hind is showing us. And that is that the ability or the opportunity to be able to move our vibration upward, to have, if you want, it's that upgrade, right? Yeah, because we've done the work. And the work is just to identify just even one area that you have repressed anger, and to allow that repressed anger to come to the surface, to really to look at it, and hopefully to be able to heal it and release it. Heal it and release it. And when we do that, we have the opportunity to be able to sense, feel, and see with our intuition much more. We're actually taking in more information at that point, because we're vibrating at a higher rate. We may have even moved up an octave, yeah, and we have more access to our gifts. So Hind is telling us that, we have the opportunity, because what we're talking about here is being able to hold the energy, the vibration of the fourth dimension so much better, so that our bodies can do that adjustment of being in a higher vibration, and so that we can then prepare to make that shift into the fifth dimension and remember how to hold that vibration for longer periods of time, right? And I believe that's what Hind is here to help us with. And to also remind us that if we do the work, the healing work, that we have the opportunity, the ability to be able to go from one dimension to another. And Hind can show the way. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to show you the second card that supports Hind. Okay. And that is cow. Bo came again. Bo is here. That shaggy Highland cow. And now she came to us today upright. Yesterday she came to us in the reverse. Right? So really take in the card, the essence of the card. Even if you need to take a deep breath in, hold it just for a second and then let it out slowly. And take in the essence of the card and notice where your eye is drawn first. What do you see first? Right? The Highland cow. Bo in Gaelic. Yeah. And with cow, she's really grounded, isn't she? She only has one foot that's kind of up. And it's not up very far either. It's almost like she's getting ready to take a step. Notice the water behind her. Emotions, right? It's a lake. So that means there's deep emotion there. Hey, Valerie's here with us too. Hi, Valerie. Good to have you here. Good to see you in the chat. And just as a reminder for Bo, okay, is that Bo is about nourishment, motherhood, and the goddess. The card shows us a Highland cow placidly standing beside the peaceful waters of a Scottish loch or lake. In the foreground, we see cranberry, cowslip, and to the right, milkwort growing. Bo opens us to an awareness of the goddess. Her generosity, healing, and nourishing power is present all around you, in your friends and children, in your food and drink, in your dreams, and particularly in the natural world that you are blessed to live in. She brings us protection from all harmful influences. And by attuning to her presence, you can gain the benefit of deep and peaceful sleep. By opening yourself to Bo and to her sacred quality as a manifestation of the goddess on earth, you will be connecting to the perpetual stream of nourishing energy that flows from the goddess to each one of us. To experience this, there is nothing you need to do. You just have to receive. Yeah. So, representing goddess on earth, nourishment, motherhood. Yeah. So remember, the second card is supporting the first's message. So I think that this one is about reminding us, because since we had cow yesterday, is reminding us that even though we may have repressed anger, and in order to heal it, we have to allow it to come to the surface. And that even though we may be angry, we're still loved. We're still loved by the goddess, unconditionally. And as we go through the process of taking that repressed anger and healing it, addressing it, that the goddess is right there with us, right? Supporting us, nourishing us, loving us. Yeah. And I'm actually one of the times we had this, somebody, and I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was, I think it was Mary Anderson Fry. She was saying something about she saw the sign of infinity in the cow's nose and how it's shaped. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I was really drawn again to the cow's face because I don't know if you can see it, but there's only one eye looking at us. The other eye is covered up by his bangs, his hair. Right. Well, maybe not. One's just peeking out. So, and she is looking right at us. Yeah. Rob says, almost looks like a yak. Yeah, it does kind of, doesn't it? I think it's because of its shagginess. And Tanya's saying she seems calm and graceful as she's walking by the water. Yes. Yes. Almost as if those same words were used, Tanya. Those same words that you just did were used to describe the Hind, about the gracefulness. And so we actually have, let me mark this page. And I'm going to show the cards, the two cards together. And take a drink of water. All right. So we're going to take a look at the two cards together. Okay. Taking it in, the essence, the spirit, the medicine of these two women, these two symbols of divine femininity, the sacred feminine. Both represent the goddess. One is protected by the goddess, and the other is the goddess on earth. Yeah. And the other thing I think that we could possibly even say about this is that, we're on a theme here. They're showing us quite a bit this week because of the energies that we're in, that if we take advantage of the opportunity and we do that healing work with the repressed anger, that when we heal it and release it and we get the wisdom from it, that we can actually balance our sacred genders, right? The divine masculine and divine feminine. And because of the duality here on earth, is that many times, and we all know this to be true, I believe, is that the divine masculine has been more pronounced in the last maybe century or two, right? And we all know that the new earth, the new generations, the new vibration, I should say, is all about the divine feminine. Yeah. And maybe that if and when we heal, we take that opportunity to do that healing, that we have more balance in our sacred feminine, and that we have the ability to really express that more, right? Because these two that came to visit us today is all about the divine feminine. It's about the goddess. I think that if we do the work, that's one of our gifts that we receive. And it's going to help us to be able to remember how to hold that frequency, that higher frequency of the fourth dimension and of the fifth dimension, helping us to prepare to do that, right? Have the ability to do that. Because we already know how. We just have to remember to know how. We just have to clear away the debris that we may have gathered over our lifetime or lifetimes. George. Oh, yeah, he just knocked down my light. Whoops. It's okay, Georgie. Come here, baby. Aw, no, he's scared. Poor baby. He stretched and knocked over my light. It's okay, Georgie. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to have to finish the show with half the light. It's okay, George. It's all right. Yeah. He's sitting right between my knees. Yeah. He scared himself. Okay, Georgie. It's all right. Yeah. That's a good boy. Now he just laid down. All right. So, where was I? I could see the light doing one of these things. I'm going, oh no. I tried to grab the wire, the plug. Oh well. It's not broken. It's just kind of lying on its side. All right. So here we go. We're going to show them again. I like it when they look at each other. I don't know about you. When they look at each other. Yeah. That's my feeling anyway, is that I think that we're being, yesterday it was a huge nudge to do the work, right? That we have an opportunity to do that. And I think today is really about sharing with us about what we get after we get through doing the work, what we achieve, right? What we're given by doing the work. Yeah. And so what is that like though, How do we do that? How do we do the work? Especially today. I don't know about you, but it's kind of been on my mind about that repressed anger. So what is it that I have repressed? And getting quiet and kind of going, wow, what is that? Feeling it, what is coming to the surface or what comes to mind. And my suggestion is, number one is to be grounded, right? And number two is that even if you remember what it is, to recall it, what that one thing, that one repressed anger that has been hanging around with you for a while, and that is to write it down. Write it down. Even if you just use bullet points, or it doesn't have to be grammatically correct at all. It's just to write it down on a sheet of paper or sheets of paper so that you can burn it tonight. You don't need a huge fire. You don't need a bonfire. You don't need a fire pit. That'd be nice, but you don't need that. What you need is a candle. What you need is a cigarette lighter. The most important thing is to be grounded. Okay, call in your whole team to be there with you. And just before you light the match or flick the bic or light the candle is a very potent time when you're creating fire, and is to have in your mind that you're calling on the spirit of fire to help you, okay, and light it up. Go outside, or if you have a wood burning fireplace, you can put it in the fireplace. But go outside and light it and burn it. You don't have to have a lot of people around you. You don't necessarily have to be in a huge ceremony. You can if you want to. It's fun, and to have that collective energy is great, but don't let that stop you. If you don't know where there is a equinox ceremony tonight, create your own, and it doesn't have to be complicated at all. It doesn't have to be complicated. You might have to prepare a little bit. You have to get grounded and get quiet and allow whatever that is that's repressed, that's floating to the surface, allow it to come up and just write it out. You know, that's all you need to do. And when you're burning it, you're asking spirit to take it from you, to purify it. On the flip side of that, because you created a void, is to fill it with the kind of energy that you want there. You know, whatever that is, whether it's peace, love, joy, whatever that is. And if you can't think of one, you can always fill it with the Creator's love, because that's pretty high vibration, right? Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, don't allow a block. If this is something that you really want to do, and this really is your decision because of that free will thing, but it is your decision if that's what you want to do, and to be able to say, you know what, I can do this right here, right now. I just have to get prepared. Looking guilty. Uh-oh. Rob, explain that one a little bit for me, please. Because I missed a couple of things between Tanya's comment and yours. I had a light go. So I'm not following the stream with that one. Tanya's saying it's important not to let the repressed anger build into an irrational response. Exactly. You want it to be as healthy as possible. Okay. And so when you ask your team to come in, the whole team, and ask them to please be with you and help you to be able to experience and express this repressed anger in as healthy, balanced way as you can for your highest good and the highest good of all, right? Yeah. And really, my suggestion is just to do the recall and to write it down, to get it out. And the burning of it really is about the purification, is really about taking it away. Yeah. The healing part is the expression of it in the best way possible. George looking guilty? No, George wasn't looking guilty at all. He was looking scared. He was a scared little boy. Yeah. Yeah, all he did was stretch. He's tall, and when he stretched, his back feet hit the base of the light, and it went over. And really, what it is it's a photographer's light, So you got the light bulb and you got the white umbrella, and so it's not heavy at all. And so he just basically kicked it over. Yeah, he's almost back to sleep again. I got to sit close enough to my camera to have the good lighting. Okay. All right, I think we covered that. That's my take on it anyway, guys. Is that the sacred feminine. We're loved unconditionally by the goddess, nourished by her. And she's supporting the message coming from Hind, Eilid, about having the ability, once we do the work, having the ability to move from one realm to another. Hind is connected to the fairy, and she knows how to move from one realm to another, and she'll show us how to do that. She'll help us do that. Yeah. That's what we all kind of got from that sunshine that is shining on her on that path, inviting us to follow her. Yep. Yeah, it's a good one, huh? Now, I have to show you these other ones. I didn't take time to really really get into them because my morning got really busy. But as I was putting the cards away, these three fell out of the deck. These three, we have this.
I don't know what that means.
Siri. I don't know how she got turned on. All right. So that was on my phone. All right. So we have the seal, right? Seal. Another symbol of the divine feminine. And then we had crow, which is a messenger, healer, being able to navigate through the dimensions, right? To the underworld and back. And then we had bear. Whoops. And then we had bear. Depending on how you take in bear, it could be a protector, but he's coming out of a cave, right? He's coming out of a cave. Equinox. Could be the solstice too, but since we're right at the equinox, coming out of the cave. Yeah. So I think that we have quite a lot of energy going on here. Big stuff. So Tanya's saying, thank you. That was a great addition to yesterday. I think so. And I do believe it was the second half of that message yesterday. So, the usual, right? Anything that resonated with you is to please embrace it and to watch, sense, see, feel, hear how the energy is unfolding around you today, right? And where this information is helpful to you. Yeah. And if it didn't resonate, that's okay. Don't worry about it. There's always tomorrow's card draw. And also, to let you know, another reminder is tonight we're doing the free mini class at the closed group academy on Facebook. It's about the inner call. We're going to be talking about that a bit, and that starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're not doing a live stream this way. Okay, I'm doing what's called a native live stream tonight, and so I'll be able to see who is in the chat. The last time we did a free mini, I used the Be Live app, and I couldn't see exactly who was in the chat. So we're doing a native live stream. So that means that I don't have a link for you to share. But if you know somebody who would like to join us, but they're not a member of the closed group, just have them go to the page or the group and ask to be invited. Okay. And Julie Shumway Hill and I will take care of that. If they can get it done about at least an hour before we start, we'll be able to get them in. Okay. So if you can join us tonight, that would be great. When we're talking about the inner call is when we make the choice to do that spiritual life, to answer the call of spirit. Okay. All right. And don't forget, tomorrow night, Thursday night, Polly Joe's show, The Soul Connections, is tomorrow night. Not tonight, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. She's doing ceremony tonight, so she couldn't be in two places at one time. So we'll see it. Hopefully we'll see you then on Thursday night as well. All right. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and Bama Mina until we see each other again. Love you guys.